Oh no, Macross Island. Again, I'm not too worried because remember, they repaired the entire Earth in a year from worse than this. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode, the season finale, if you will, of Space Battleship Yamato 2. I apologize for you Starblazer fans, I am not familiar with the titles of that show, even though technically it's mostly the same show. I'm just unaware. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board. So let's go ahead and look at that board first thing. Where the changelog is expected, I marked the rookie, Yamamoto, Saito, Sabera, Genitz, Rosella, and Kato as dead. There's probably some relationship changes to be made there as well. However, the thing I discovered when I was taking my notes and doing all that stuff that I do when I rewatch the episodes is that I had not updated the board for Space Battleship Yamato 2. It was just the original board that I had transferred over to our new system. So, I hurriedly added a bunch of characters to that, marked them alive or dead. I still have to put their interpersonal relationships up there, connect them to the group lines that they're in. So yeah, otherwise I have just transferred them over and marked them alive or dead, and gave them the halo that says what group they're in. So that said, on to notes. And I guess the first note is not one that I have in my actual written notes, but it might be a little bit before we actually get to the movie that comes after this. I anticipate I'm going to be busy in the next month or month after that, and I got to get prepared for that. Things going on behind the scenes. If you see the background change around me, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So, probably going to focus on getting the shows that are closer to being done finished, and then focus on the shows that are longer. Your Legend of Galactic Heroes, Space Battleship Yamato, because there's a lot to go forward here on this too. And the shows that I haven't recorded in a while and still need to get to. Your Romeo and the Black Brothers, Witch Hat Atelier I still have to finish. So yeah, a little bit on the back burner, but not for good, and not for all that long. I anticipate to get back to it fairly soon. Just got to catch up to some stuff. Those of you who are watching this in the future and see an entire backlog of videos ahead of this, you're not going to care. This is for those present in the moment. Anyway, moving on. You think there's any meaning to having the Yamato surprise attack an enemy base sitting in the water while confusion remains as to its war status? Despite the Comet Empire being the bad guys here, I'm not sure how I feel about this. The Comet Empire declared itself, made formal demands for surrender. Essentially, they made their diplomatic demands, and the Earth government accepted. If anything of the Comet Empire survives into another season, and there are other galactic powers out there, not going to be a great look that we are an underhanded people that will stab you in the back regardless of what we say. I know, I should side with humanity, and I do. This just feels like there could be consequences on the galactic stage if we become known for waving the white flag and then killing people after. Sabera really did screw it all up for the Comet Empire. Given that the Yamato is the hero ship of the series, her impeding and betraying Dessler from going after the Yamato essentially caused the Yamato to be there at the end to fight them. I mean, it's not like I think Dessler would have defeated the Yamato. Lord knows he had all the means and opportunity before. But he could have certainly held them back and wasted their time, especially with the Comet Empire's help, all of which Sabera principally prevented. Rookie went out as stupidly as he came in. I mean, fair enough to him that he pulled a lever under high gravity and got the information from the computer to the bridge as he was about to die. I mean, these are two different scenes, but I'm equating all of his contributions, really. But pushing the comic relief nonsense here in the most serious episode we've had yet, there's no place for it. I'm not going to celebrate his death, but I certainly wish he hadn't existed. When they landed the fighters inside the Comet Empire ship, we saw one of the gunners fire on a fighter, and it just cut right through the armor. Then, when we pan back to see the party running for it, we can see all three fighters getting hammered by the laser fire. When Kodai returns later, none of those fighters should have been able to take off. They would have been completely ruined. It's like it's like seeing when somebody's testing armor-piercing rounds or something, and they're shooting at like a dilapidated car, and the bullets just go right through it. The Comet Empire soldiers suck. Sonata was laying on the ground, firing around a corner, and not moving in any way to dodge the oncoming shots. Like his head is fully out there. And yet we see about 100 laser shots missing him completely the entire time he's down there. He's the last person I'd want to see die, but he's also the one that is the safest to shoot without dying, as proven by his leg. And my final note here. We had to suspect Saito was going to go out this way because of the movie. But he got an even better ending this time. I have to say that while I wish he hadn't been introduced as an annoying prick, suffering through him was worth it to have his extremely slow turnaround and this moment of badassness. And I said we had a comment, and of course it's from Kellen Winslow. So, now that I have rewatched nearly the entire show with you, I have to say I'm totally unimpressed. When the former head of Gainax, Toshio Okada, said that the second season was unnecessary, he was right. It has good moments to be sure, it would, since it's basically extending a good movie, but the only point of the show seems to be to make sure characters don't die off so they can be in the third season. It lacks the impact of the film and overstays its welcome. If I was to rewatch anything again, it would definitely be the movie. Sorry, I was expecting a definitely wouldn't be this, but you were saying you would rather watch the movie. I still enjoyed watching it with you for sure, but it really felt repetitive and a bit empty. Now granted, that's only if you have seen the movie. It may be that if this is the only thing you have seen, it would be okay. I like how much characters like Kodai improve, but it's not enough for me to recommend the show. I have my issues with the remake, 2202, but I now see how difficult it must have been for them to remake this storyline. It's been a long time since I've seen the other two films and the Bolar Wars, so we'll see if undoing the characters' deaths from the movie pays off in that show. Glad to see you're doing okay, Theta. Take it easy. I don't know. I would say this has been, 26 episodes? The problem is I'm thinking about this with hindsight and the element that I don't actually remember everything, by which, as I've indicated before, the thing that's very easy to do is remember only the good bits and forget the bad bits, right? And that's what I'm doing right now is I'm forgetting the bad bits. I would say that this would easily make a good 12 to 13 episode season. I'm saying that again, forgetting all the bad bits, but I'm thinking that if you cut out half of this could be mediocre to bad. Let's say mediocre to bad. That I'm saying some of this you can cut out for just being mediocre. That you could make a two core season out of the first season and this second season. Just boil it all down into one. But I will say there are elements here that I do think that I would not recommend the movie for, because you wouldn't get the Dessler capture thing from the movie. And there are, I don't know, the emotionality at the end of the movie, that's a pretty high bar, but I don't know if we're not going to get that from this episode. Because I would think if we're going to follow the same path of death, Yuki would already be dead. And be just serving as an inspiration for Kodai to do whatever he's going to do here. Because a number of people have died, and they are pretty much the same people that died in the movie. And as I said in my notes, Saito's death here is even better than in the movie. In the movie, he's an underdeveloped character. Here, we come to hate him, or not hate him. He's an annoyance. No, I don't know. I think I do hate him. I hated him, obviously. He got better over time. He has an arc here. He didn't have an arc in the movie. The movie also, Teresa, I think Teresa is probably better here. There's differences. I don't like that she's a small naked girl in the movie, but we know like next to nothing about her in the movie. She has a backstory here. There is a lot to appreciate about this. What you would probably do, or what I would probably do if we was making the hard decision of do you recommend the show or do you recommend the movie, is that I would recommend the show, but I would do one of those filler charts. Okay, you need to watch this episode, skip these two, watch that episode, skip these three, watch the next episode. I would do one of those, or God forbid if I ever had the time, I would do my own fan edit or something like that. But then again, let's be honest here, I'm the one who sat here and watched the whole thing anyway, so I would probably recommend that somebody else sit through it and watch the whole thing anyway. You can only appreciate the good for the bad, and that's why we do the whole thing, and we don't just skip to the remake or anything like some commenters say. Anyway, that was the comment, that was the board, we did our notes, so nothing left to do but to see how Season 2 ends, and can it accomplish being at least as good as the movie.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I will say, I don't know if it's a good sign that we're starting off with the opening. Especially as last episode started off with nothing, right? The credits were over top of the action taking place. Usually, it's a pretty good sign when we don't have time for the opening. That we start off with the story, and even better sign, that we end with the story. Been getting that in a lot of Legend of the Galactic Heroes episodes lately. Where we'll start off with whatever event we just ended with, and then we'll end with the, hey, look at our characters as they go off to do their thing. I don't know. The problem is, it's been a while since I watched an episode, so I don't know if there's changes here to the final episode's opening. Like, more of the fight with the ship was there or not. See, I don't know if there's like any innocent civilians on the Common Empire ship. That those buildings weren't filled with like families. Obviously not that Zordor cared. Kind of reminds me of Infinite Rivus, a ship buried in another thing. A base or space station or whatever. Now, if we recall, in the movie, it took Antimatter Teresa and the Yamato ramming to maybe have destroyed this thing. It happens way off in the distance, and there's a giant flash, so it's hard to tell what actually happened there. God, they put final in there so we could tell. I don't know how they would make it so the Yamato actually survives the final episode. Because it should be destroyed just by this alone. Yeah, I guess they are really pushing for Yuki to survive. All I'm saying is all throughout the show, any single one of these would have destroyed a ship. I know he's one of our bridge guys, I just can't remember his name right off the top of my head. Oh no, not him. And since this is the engineering, that means his second is probably dead too.
どうだ思い知ったかヤマト。だが攻撃はまだまだ続くぞ。
Joke's on you. You've stopped.
これで分かっただろう。この私こそ宇宙の絶対者なのだ。宇宙のすべての星、命あるものはその血の一滴まで私のものだ。私の意のままにあるのだ。ヤマトよ、よく見るがいい。地球がこの私の裁きを受け、木っ端みじんになる様をな。
When I said consequences, I didn't mean that. I meant on a greater stage. It still very much looks like the ship inside the Common Empire vessel is bigger than the Common Empire vessel was.
四方発射よーい。目標は地球だ。
Oh sure, giant dick cannon, why not? I guess Star Wars ripped this off with its super laser Star Destroyer. Oh no, McCross Island. Again, I'm not too worried because remember, they repaired the entire Earth in a year from worse than this. Also, everyone should be underground by now. We evacuated. Because it doesn't seem worse than the bombardment that Gamulus did. Because remember, that was also radioactive.
もはやこれまでか。
And again, this is only half the planet. Gamulus turned it into a brown wasteland devoid of water. And they repaired it in a year. I already made a guess before. No, that's Teresa's ship. I was guessing before that Starsha was going to come with Kodai's brother. Because why wouldn't they? But we're not going to introduce old characters again, apparently.
ダメなの。まだ足りないの、島さん。もう私の体にはわずかしか残っていない。でも島さん、あげるわ。すべてあげるわ、あなたに。
Is Shima going to come back with Teresa's power? I wonder if Babylon 5 took their idea from here. Like an inverse Susan Ivanova.
島さん、なんて言ったの？私の血が通い始めたのね。よみがえるのね、島さん。もっとあげるわ。あなたの瞳がもう一度開か
I
れ
wonder
る。
how her blood's even compatible.
でも、あなたのためなら私
I mean, certainly he wouldn't want you to die for him.
あなたの体の 私が生きているのですわ。
How horrible would it be to wake up to find out that she had saved you, but she's dead on top of you.
愛している。愛しているわ、島さん。
I mean, if he is going to come to it, I don't like he's going to come to with any speed to be able to stop her from killing herself.
血をあげただけでは本当にあなたを助けたことにはならない。私とここにいたのでは。
I guess she's taking the emotional sacrifice that Yuki fulfilled during the movie.
島さん、ヤマトよ。あなたのヤマトよ、島さん。
Again, any other ship would have been destroyed by all of this.
艦内には誘爆が続いています。このままでは危険です。
ユキ、生存者を確認してくれ。
はい、確認は済んどるよ。一将をはじめ18名、全員が負傷しとる。
で、機関長は徳川さんも。
Okay, damn it, I was very confused. I was like, oh, he's alive?
先生、
But because he included them with
生存者
injured.
全員救命艇に収容してください。
Damn it.
お前はどうするんじゃい。
I think Tokugawa is like my second favorite character.
もちろん僕も体感します。さあ、早く急がないと危険です。
小田井さんは
もうすぐ来るわ、すぐ後から。
Again, they've had these ships the whole time.
残念です。
力を落とすな。我々はデスラーを見習うべきだよ、古代。
です。
That's a rough message.
星としての機能を失ってしまうかもしれん。だが、生きよう。移住できる他の星を探して。
Why would you have to? Again, you fixed Earth in a year. You fixed Earth from nothing in a year. And obviously, Sonata would... You know what I meant. Is my favorite character.
これが最後の船だぞ。
ユキは
はて確かいたんじゃがな。さっきの便に相原さんと乗ったんでしょ。そうか、そうじゃったかな。
Obviously still on the ship.
先生、
なんじゃ。
先生には随分お世話になりましたね。
何を言い出すんじゃこんな時に。なあ古代、生きような。どんなことがあっても生き延びような。
分かってますよ、先生。さあ、急いで発進しますよ。
あ、それは。
Of course, the momentum of the ship would have taken him away, but we don't care about gravity here.
操縦がオートになっています。ロックされています。進路地球は来ない来ない。
His character growth kind of reminds me of, one of the main Gao from Voltaire 5. Although Kodai is developing as a character more, I would say. I suppose they're contemporaries.
沖田さん、僕はどうしたらいいんでしょう。相手を侮ったばっかりに。
If she is still on this ship,
こんな悲惨な状況に追い
that
込ん
is
でしま
going
い
to
ました。
guarantee whatever happens to one happens to both.
責任は僕にあるんだ。僕にあるんだ。責任は僕に。
Also, you probably shouldn't have taken his helmet off.
そうだ。
This ship has to be leaking
ヤマトそのものを
oxygen.
ミサイルと化して突っ込む。ヤマトの動力炉を起爆剤にして鉄管を破壊する。それしかない。
I mean, it was that combined with Antimatter Teresa before.
ヤマトを導いていきます。この命を一つ投げ打つことで事態を変えることができるなら喜んで僕は。沖田さん、生きて生き抜けというあなたの教えには背くことになるかもしれません。でも僕は
Yeah, but even Okita kinda sacrificed his life to see things through to the end.
それが僕にできる唯一の償いなのです。許してください、艦長。
And of course, I don't know why I was hoping that she was actually on the other ship.
君は
初めからあなたが残るような気がしていたわ。約束だったはずよ。私たちいつでもどんな時でも一緒にいるって。あなただけ残るなんて。
Again, on one hand, I wish she had stayed on the other ship. On the other hand, they gotta be together no matter what, and I appreciate that too.
帰ることができたって。あなたのいない地球。
I don't know why I care so much about them not including the furniture buying scene from the movie, because I think that would have added a little bit of emotional weight.
結婚式もお預けだったのよ。
I do find their relationship to be emotional. More so than it seems like I do.
ユキ、君がいつも僕のそばにいるということが本当には見えていなかった。
Especially because you tried to kick her off the ship when you found out she was on it.
初めて分かったよ。何が幸せで何が不幸せなのか。ユキ、これからはいつも一緒にいるよ。
So either they're gonna die together, or we're gonna have to reconcile this for the third season. Again, the movie was so fucking emotional with her being dead and him having her on the bridge with him. And then you like see the ghosts of everyone that died as we kamikaze.
目標敵巨大戦艦ヤマト発進します。
Are we just having Kodai and Yuki suicide into this because we have to have a captain die every season? Also, how are we going to keep the Yamato name if the Yamato does get destroyed? I mean, for a season 3. I do like that they're heading towards the Earth to defeat the ship, because obviously, as you recall in the movie, it's heading away from the Earth, and we don't see anything happen.
島。
五代さん、島さんを届けに参りました。
Well, maybe you should have done it to one of the medical ships, because we're planning a suicide run.
島さんの命は取り留めました。あとはあなた方の手で地球へ送り届けてください。
しかしヤマトは。
テレサ、島君はあなたが地球へ連れて。いいえ、もう私の力ではとても。私は何とかここまで島さんを回復させました。でもこれ以上は、あとは地球で。
Though, yeah, they should do that on Earth, though, because we're about to ram the ship.
テレサ、あなたはご自分の血を島。
That's a bit of a jump.
今から島さんを
Maybe she's weak because of all the other shit that she did that you saw her do.
島さんをお渡しします。
しかしテレサ、ヤマトはもう地球へ戻るわけには。
ズオーダーとの戦いには私が参ります。
いけない。
I don't know.
これまで十分すぎるほどの行為を示してくれました。もうこれ以上はあなたの命が。
いいえ、私はもう死ぬことはありません。島さんの体には私の
Oh yeah, metaphorically, I won't die. A part of me will live on. One of those. I don't know though, because it's like our fight, and now we're handing it off to someone else at the very end.
地球の未来につながるのです。勝って帰るよりも負けて帰ることの方が勇気がいることなのですよ。
テレサ。
I think it was better in the movie when they both sacrificed themselves.
私は今幸せなのです。島さんの体の中で私は生きることができ、
Both groups that had something taken away from Zordor.
美しい地球で生き続けることができるのですか。さようなら。さようなら、古代さん、ユキさん。島さんお願いします。
テレサ。
Yeah, again, if she sacrifices herself and takes out Zordor in her ship, it's a better version of Teresa, but I don't like the conclusion of her story if it goes that way. Again, he could be at this all day and he still wouldn't do as much damage as Dessler did.
死ね。ことごとく死ぬがいい。
Also, weirdly, you're facing the Earth, but your vision is of deep space.
生きていたのか。攻撃やめ。反転180度。
Yeah, also don't do that so close to Earth, because we saw how big the explosion was last time. What did I just say? Don't do it so close to Earth. Also, just very unsatisfying, him having that sudden fear response. Like, he was very much don't mess with her before, but he wasn't, like, pissing himself terrified last time. I don't mean the movie, I mean last time in the show. And again, it feels like it takes away something from the crew. I mean, it lets them survive, sure.
ありがとう、テレサ。奇跡は一度しか起こらない。僕たちはそれを知っています。
But it was their fight, and their fight was taken away from them.
ことを捨てた者に未来はないこと。もう二度と過ちを犯すことはないでしょう。ひたすら人々を愛し、美しい地球を作っていきます。
Again, it's still blue-green after everything Zordor just did. And you guys took it back from just complete brown in a year. Yeah, I gotta say, it does lack the emotional impact that I got from the movie. But I guess this is what they had to do to keep the story going. Yeah, compared to how Dessler left the planet, that looks fine. Again, he killed people. I'm just saying that the universe remains unchanged, but one story has come to an end. But it hasn't. This is so an insignificant part of the runtime of the greater story. No one's alone. There must be someone to connect with somewhere nearby, knowing that is who it means to love, but sometimes we lose sight of such a connection. Lack of love makes no one happy. Fair enough. True statement. I mean, some people are alone and are unhappy because of it. Some of these things are... Well, there you know. I mean, I think you guys already knew where I was getting the translations from. A little bit like me that I do appreciate that I've been on this journey with the editors from the first season, and now Central Anime, who's been throwing their hat into the commentary ring as well. I mean, I know they didn't write the thing from before. That was from the actual show. But I mean, you know, the thing right there at the end. And we did get some notes from this season, just not as many as from the first season. No one is alone. Well, unfortunately, some people are alone, and they're made unhappy because of it, even if they don't think that they need other people. The whole thing about love, sure. I mean, it's a lot easier to get through this life with people around you than it is on your own. I mean, that is a given. I gotta say, I guess I'm agreeing with you, Kellen Winslow, that this was better in the movie. I guess if I was gonna do anything, if I was gonna make a fan edit, I would fan edit things from the show into the movie, and things from the movie out. Again, I would just completely change Teresa into her version here. However, I would also keep the movie ending, right? I would remove the bit where Teresa just sacrifices herself and solves all of our problems. I guess I'm getting to a real Lex Luthor vibe when I hear myself talk. We've got to eliminate Superman because he's making us weak by solving all of our problems for us. I guess it's just some aspect of Teresa being the final solution that doesn't sit right with me. So, yeah, I would keep all of Teresa in, and then when naked child small Teresa from the movie shows up to aid Kodai in the final battle, you know, both suicide charge them together, I would just have our Teresa from the show and then, you know, Ball of Light, so you can't tell which one it is. Obviously, I guess we're going to get some story about this from Shima in the next season or whatever, the movies first and then the season. Because, I don't know, if having Teresa's blood in him is going to give him powers, or he's just going to be living a life of regret because Teresa's no longer around. Obviously, I don't know anything based on the name Bolar Wars, but then again, I can't remember the name of the movie that's supposed to come up next. I have it all in a list, mind you. I'm just not looking at it right now while I'm talking. Yeah, again, the deeper emotional impact I got from the movie, because it was so incredibly fucking sad to think back to how the movie started with them about to live their life together, shopping, planning their marriage, and then has to go out to try and save the Earth again, or, you know, discover what the threat is to Earth, and then find out that he has to save the Earth. Only for her to then die. Many of the same people died. And then seeing himself with her dead beside him, holding her to him, and ghost imagery like we're watching Space Titanic as he goes in for the final charge, knowing that he himself is also going to die. And I think a lot of that unspoken as well. It is verbally a silent series of scenes, whereas here in the show, we are just saying everything out loud. So that is also a greater impact there. And I know it seems like I'm just doing a lot of comparing, which I guess you have to, but it's also the element that this episode sits on the weight of what the movie did before it. And as Kellen Winslow also said in the comment, the creators of the show also agreed that this was unnecessary. And not for nothing, we got movies coming up that I don't have anything else to watch with them but the movie itself, so there's not going to be any comparison. Although I guess the show was necessary only in the aspect that it kept characters alive that would otherwise not be alive. Well, I guess the Yamato was still around too. They had to keep the ship around, and there was no way, I don't think. I guess they could rebuild it from nothing, or just Yamato 2 off of the same design. I don't know. I guess there could have been a third season with a whole brand new crew and a new ship, the Yamato 2, you know, Enterprise, the Enterprise to the Enterprise A, or Enterprise B, which if you want to consider a whole new ship. And from there, we're not going off of not the legend. Yamato was a real ship. We're not going off the history of the original Yamato. we're going off the history of the Yamato that saved the Earth twice in space, then it gets its own actual legend or mythos or whatever. The element of going from the USS Enterprise, the aircraft carrier, to the USS Enterprise, the spaceship with Kirk on it. That kind of legend build up. So whatever the USS Enterprise B actually did in its own timeline story stuff, we got that history. And then the USS, that makes sense. The Space Battleship Yamato, too, could have that kind of legacy behind it. See, I'm just sitting here rambling stupid bullshit, and I'm already coming up with something, I guess, that kind of already feels better than this season. Granted, I'm also spitballing ideas for a season that would take place after this, without this show. Well, I guess also goes to show you that Dessler here managed to survive. Didn't in the movie, of course, but I don't know. The movie bit was a little bit weird, but I guess I could see what they were doing with him there, and I don't hate that either. But one payoff here is that Dessler is still alive. Zwodar didn't get that treatment in either thing. If we had a movie continuity, Zwodar's dead. I guess the explosion happens way off in the distance, and you could bullshit your way through that, I imagine. But, yeah. Show continuity. Dessler is alive for 2 seasons, possibly a 3rd. Who knows? Granted, there's no gameless empire left anymore, it seems. Even though those ships could have gone anywhere and done anything. And conceivably, gameless was still more than one planet. They were an empire. You're not an empire on one planet. Well, I guess you could be. Every human empire in history was an empire on one planet. I guess that was a bullshit statement. It just doesn't feel right to me, especially after seeing the map. And, and Domel going off and fighting some faraway battle line. I don't know, it just seemed to me that they had more. Then again, it's still my opinion that they should have recolonized Pluto, as per that one ship. That one ship is going to be my white whale forever, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess wrapping up here, I'm in the agreement that the movie is better than the show. I was tearing up at the end of the movie. I had to wipe my eyes because I just couldn't stop it from coming. The whole Kodai Yuki thing, the sacrifice, the ghosts, the images of the past, remembering what we've lost just before we give up everything to save everyone. That got to me. That got to me in gunbuster, diebuster ways. I mean, there was some things here. Teresa talking about how much she loved Shima, how much she was willing to sacrifice everything to save him. I mean, the "I'm gonna be inside of you" thing was a bit weird, but maybe that took me out of it. They put a little bit too much talking into a scene where it didn't need it. Not jazzed about how we had all of our agency taken away from us by someone else. I mean, granted, Teresa has her own story about why she would have reason to go after Zwodar and the Comet Empire, but she didn't before, and then she held back on the planet that she was staying at anyway, and then the 3rd time's the charm. It just didn't make sense to me. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to wrap up there, because otherwise I'm going to be going over the same topics. I probably have been talking about the same thing 4 times in a row over the last 10 minutes. Those are my general thoughts. I will once again continue to update the board to at least get it to this point here, so that when we start the movie, the next movie, whatever it is, I can't remember, we will have everything up to date. Hopefully by that time. So, until then, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you again next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?